Just playing harder, understanding that, they're going to come in here and they're going to play hard, especially down, two of their guys, and they got a lot of guys banged up. So, they got a lot of different guys stepping up. Jackson, Beasley played more today. They just got other guys that got to, chip in for them. So, they were desperate. They wanted that win. And so for us, we just, I thought we weathered that punch weathered the
storm.
The storm. My bad use of words. I thought we weathered the storm really well and just figured it out.
Myles, the dunk. Where does that one rank for you in your career, especially it being a playoff game, and what were you seeing in that moment?
Obviously it's up there, but for me personally, I was just joking with my teammates. I feel like every postseason I get one of these, man, just since I've been in the league, so it's nothing new for me. I tell them all the time, like, I'm not dunking during the regular season, but, postseason I'll be straight. So I got my legs right, just saw an opening, and was able to make a great play.
Myles, I think after Game 3 you talked about your ego and how you let that go a long time ago, and just seeing how your floor spacing has been kind of the X factor, especially how, Brooke defends in the paint. Why has that been so important for you guys over these first 4 games?
Well, I think after that first game, we watched a lot of film and just saw, some of the holes in the defense and realized that there were open spots, for us to exploit. So a lot of it for me is just read and react, which is pretty much what our offense is. And, I've been shooting, threes my entire life, man. I think I didn't really shoot too many in college or coming into the league, but I've always been capable, and I put in a lot of work, to get to where I need to be. So, just continue to keep putting my work in, and, the results will show.
Myles, what did it feel like to hear the crowd chanting your name there in the fourth quarter and then hit that 3 while they're chanting your name?
Yeah, that was special. I didn't realize I hit the 3 while they were chanting my name. I saw that afterwards, but that was very special, just knowing how much, the city means to me, and, they reciprocated that love. So it was a dope moment for me. It's definitely up there, and I got to do it in front of my family, and it was a very special moment for me. But, we'll celebrate tonight. We got to get back to it, right back to it tomorrow. We still have one more game to win, and, never too high, never too low.
Myles, 7 of 9 from three-point range. How are you able to stay within yourself? And it looked like all the fundamentals were right on your shot this evening.
Same thing, film work. So I saw, some film of myself past couple games where, my form wasn't the right way, was leaning too much, I was backing out of shots. So, I studied a lot. I have my team up here with me, my trainer and, my two guys that work for me as well. And we spent a lot of time just trying to hone in my craft. And, I was able to get hot tonight. And, hopefully, like I said, keep doing this throughout the entire playoffs.
Tyrese, how much time did Rick spend trying to convince you guys that this was a dangerous team, despite the fact they were missing 2 of their top people?
I just think it was a point of emphasis. I think we got to understand, all year we've struggled when teams miss, their guys, and that's kind of been the story of our season, losing ones that were, quote unquote, supposed to win. And I think that, just looking at this, it could have been, some call it a trap game of some sorts of, letting your guard down and getting punched. And wow, another bad use of words. Sorry, I'm
Theme
so
of the
sorry.
night, huh?
So sorry. But. Damn. You let your guard down, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to, come out and play the right way, and that was important.
Ty, in a series that's also, obviously the pace is a little bit down from what you're used to, how important has it been for you to control that tempo and find gaps, take advantage of transition plays and just be able to put them on their back heels?
Yeah, it's just important for us to, do our thing. And, I think the way games go, like Game 1, I felt like they dictated the tempo, and I would say the story of the last three games is that we have, and usually that comes from who can get enough stops to really play their style of play. And in the first game, they got more than enough stops, and I thought a lot of that was on us. We decided. We made a decision after Game 1 that no matter what, we were going to dictate the pace on makes, on misses, and that's really how we've, created our identity the whole year. I think people know on makes, on misses, we're pushing the ball, and I think that that's important for us. So we've kind of got back to that in the last 3 games, and in a world, in a league that says, oh, you can't play fast in the playoffs, we don't really believe in that. We're going to be who we are and put our identity and our imprint on every game.
Myles. Excuse me, what goes through your head in one of those intense moments where your teammate is kind of getting into a scuffle there in the first quarter? And I know you want to come to his defense, but at the same time, you don't want to jeopardize yourself. And it was obviously an intense moment for everyone out.
Yeah, it's hard, especially you're already jacked up enough as it is because it's the playoffs. And then I had my back turned, but then when I saw it escalate, my first instinct is protect your teammate. And the more than likely, you already know when something happens, security's going to run in there, team's going to run in there. Our security was on it and whatnot. But I am proud of Drew just for standing tall. I mean, I think in those moments, it's an intimidation thing, and I just don't think it really works. Worked very well with him. So he was able to stay in the game, which was very key. And that Roo-Rah stuff. I mean, we've seen it before.
Well, as expected, a very, very hard game, very physical. They threw everything at us. I mean, both teams have pretty much played everybody at this point. But there will continue to be adjustments throughout. Guys did a great job of keeping pressure in the game. The fans were fantastic. We had some really good individual performances. But when you're in a playoff series, when you win, your celebrations got to be pretty short, and you got to keep focusing. So that'll be our task. And then Tuesday, I have an idea of what's coming then as far as, their crowd and everything. So important win. So we'll get ready for Tuesday.
Rick, numerically, your defense was much better in the second half. What was key in turning that around from halftime and pushing forward to win this one?
Well, our pressure wasn't where it needed to be in the first half. We were able to pick it up in the second half at halftime, and it helps. It helps. So we got to keep adjusting to what's going on with their team. They're changing things up. They're playing different guys. They're doing different schemes, and we've got to keep abreast of it and keep trying to counter.
Coach, just seeing how Brook Lopez tends to hang back in the paint, why has Myles been so effective as a floor spacer and kind of an X factor for you during his first 4 games?
Well, I thought both of those guys played amazing games. Lopez was spectacular, and so was Myles. And it was a great battle between the two of them. I mean, Lopez is 14 for 18 from the field. As expected, some significant post activity, and I don't think he missed in the first half. In the second half, we did better, and he missed a couple. But he drew some fouls too, and so, we gotta keep braced for what's coming from him, and then, so just hard series.
Rick, how much of a challenge was it to convince your guys that Milwaukee was still a dangerous team despite the guys that weren't playing? And how did you think they responded?
Well, we had a pretty candid talk about it at 4 o'clock when we met in the locker room before our prep. And, I pointed out the same things I pointed out to you guys, that the 5 starters, all of them had, with the exception of Beverly, who'd scored 26 in the game earlier this year, all of them had scored 30 or more at least once. And so, Lopez had 39, Portis had 31 twice. We know what Middleton did here the other night with 42. And, Beasley had 30 in one game. So, Beasley had another big night tonight. So, just trying to keep our guys ready for what's coming, because, you can only do so much, and they have to experience it and go through it. But this experience is very valuable, and we've done some good things, and there's some things we certainly need to do better.
The Portis situation, how did that change the dynamic of the game?
Well, it ramped up the intensity of the overall game. It didn't make the game any easier in my mind. And I think Portis is a very underrated player. But credit to them, when they lost one of their weapons, they kept their level high. And it was a 3 or 5 point game at halftime, and it was a lot of continued work in the second half to get the win. So, as far as I didn't see a replay of what happened or anything, so I don't know anything other than what the officials told me and right afterwards.
Rick, the three-point shooting was dramatically better than it was the other night. Is there anything getting better shots, or you can attribute that number to tonight?
We just got to stay with, our process of doing the things that we're stressing defensively. Trying to stay close to everybody and do it without fouling. Running as best we can. And I haven't looked at the film yet, obviously, but it seemed like we got into the paint more tonight than we did in the second game. And when you get in there, you tend to get some better looks. But I can't really give you a great answer. The shot making in the NBA is an up and down thing. But the defense and the intensity and the togetherness are things that we can control. So we're trying to control those as best we can and just keep stepping into the shots are the ones to step into.
Coach, they were hanging around in that first half. What was the message in halftime to instill the importance of getting out to a strong start in that third quarter? Well, there were some things happening, and there was some complaining to the officials a few times by our guys. And the first thing I did at halftime was point out that the fouls were 7-7. And that this is a very well officiated game and very consistent, and that we need to focus our energy on each other and the things that we need to do to make it tough on Milwaukee and get it off the officials. This time of year, you're not getting anything cheap. You're not getting anything cheap. And I thought beginning of the second half, we made a better adjustment to shift our focus a little bit. And obviously, going into Game 5, similar. It's got to be very much the same.
Bobby's an emotional player, and he's often on that edge. Do you count on him to know where that line is on any given night?
Yeah, I think, emotion got the best of him in this situation. I thought, for the most part of the year, he's done a great job of, flirting with that line and not crossing over it tonight. It just crossed over at the worst time for us.
It happened too quick. Obviously, we wanted them to be in the game, but I haven't seen the play. I don't even know what happened, to be honest. But that clearly hurt us. There's no doubt about that. And we would have loved them to stay out there. It was a tough break for us. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't matter how long you're in the league, you can still learn. All of us can. I thought it'll probably be a lesson for Bobby and all of us, for all the young guys. Playoff games are high emotion. They really are. And so that happened. And, you can't get it back once it happened. We were just scrambling. Listen, we knew the deal coming into the night. We knew we were going to have to trap more. I said that before the game. We were going to have to do things that we don't do traditionally. I thought we hung in there. I really did. Halftime, it's a three-point game. Khris goes down. I thought the one big play was Haliburton's three to start. The third, we were trying to foul, and then we end up giving him a dare shot. And then he makes two more. I thought overall, up until that point, we were guarding him really well. We got loose a little bit. We had a lot of little breakdowns, but we were doing things, honestly, that we haven't done a lot. Our guys were playing their hearts out, they really were. I love that our team, no matter what anyone thought, they believed we could win this game. And it shows a lot about this basketball team. And what I loved about it the most is after the game, they're disappointed that they didn't win the game. We don't talk about it team-wise. We didn't talk about Dame today. We didn't talk about Giannis today. We don't talk about injuries. That's never been something I've done. All we talk today is the guys and winning the game. There's nothing we can do. We can give Giannis and Dame support and get them healthy, but we're not going to put them in harm's way. That's number one. We're just not going to do that. And we're going to play the guys that are ready to play.